30% of America's doctors plan to quit if Obamacare goes through. I was at the dentist. I wasn't. My wife was at the dentist the other day. He's probably one of the most leading dentists of the Phoenix Valley and Scottsdale area. And he had just been, he gave me this personally. He said, I was just with the most prominent dentist, specialized in dental work in his area. He's been in the business now for some over 50 years. He's not a young comer. And he said that this dentist friend of his, and he had dinner together, and he said, if business doesn't pick up, now, people don't have to have dental work done. They can have that tooth hurt. They don't have to have cosmetic surgery. Because of the economy being in such bad shape, people are not going to the dentist as they did. He's this most prominent dentist of the Phoenix Valley said to my dentist friend just the other day, he said, if my business doesn't pick up by June of 2011, that's this year, by June, he said, I'll have to close my office. I can't stay in business anymore. If Obamacare goes in, they're going to give them much less than what they're getting right now. 30% of America's doctors plan to quit. If it goes through, folks, you must begin to take some action to take care of yourself.
Well, we told people 4 years ago that we told
mine. He was playing racquetball, and after he got through, he passed out. They rushed him to the hospital. He didn't have any choice because that's what they automatically do, call 911. When they got through with $3, 3 days, of strenuous examinations, they had a new bill for $34,000 just because he passed out at the racket court because he had taken too much of a health drink prior to it, and it caused his heart to do something funny. But listen to the rest of this. They brought him in and they said, we notice you don't have insurance. And they said, rather than take a chance, they said, this is in your area. This happened in Dallas, Texas, by the way, Alex. And the doctors in the hospital said to him, okay, if you will pay us $5,000 right now, either check or cash, before you leave the hospital, we will count that as paid, and here's your bill for $34,000. Pay $5,000 right now, and we'll take it, or $34,000 if you don't pay before you leave the hospital. Folks, you can't depend on public hospitals any longer. There are things in the wind. You've got to prepare yourself for your family's medical needs, Alex.
Well, I mean, did your source say that, or is that just from your own research?
No, you mean this I gave you just then?
Yes.
Well, that was Stan Johnson. You know him. This happened to him last week in Dallas, Texas. I mean, you can call him up on the phone and ask him.
No. I'm saying the medical system, the medical system falling apart. I mean, was that warning coming from your Mr. X?
Yes, I have been warned by this new elitist friend of mine as to what's happening as far as the medical system is concerned. He has talked to me at length about the medical system, and of course, the dentist that I mentioned just a moment ago is Dr. Hoskins here in the Phoenix Valley. I mean, these people are saying we have troubles in the medical system, and if Obamacare goes through, Lord have mercy on us. You definitely, I have put down as number 13 now in the list of things that you positively must do within the next few days. I mean, you can't wait any longer.
All right, I want to expand on that.
The have told me there are 13 things that you must do immediately if you're going to spare your house heartaches, and one of them, the one I've just added, you've got to begin to take care of your own medical needs. Alex? All
right. I want to just back up and point out, we know what the globalists do in third world countries. They implode. We have the 112-part IMF World Bank shock therapy order that they internally give countries. That was leaked in 2002, such a key point I talk about routinely. And they then give them economic orders that they know will further implode the economy. You could cut all government services and never pay the foreign debt off that's made up on the derivatives because you don't really owe it. But they implode the economy, raise the taxes, all the money goes offshore to enrich the globalists and our new Chinese owners teamed up with the private Federal Reserve. So all of that goes on, but we're already seeing it. Detroit, they're announcing they're going to get rid of half their schools. But you say, well, that's just Detroit. All over the country, Iowa, Ohio, California, you're hearing about 30%, 40%, 60% of the sheriff's deputies or police laid off. And the cops say, we're not going to respond to crime now. All we're going to do is raise revenue for ourselves. and some are honest, they say, buy guns to protect yourself. Others say, and don't let us catch you with a gun to protect yourself in your house. But some are honest and say, get guns. And then when citizens go out and buy guns, the media comes out. I've actually seen this on MSNBC. It's up on the Prison Planet, and says it's racism to buy guns. It's secretly for black people. Well, black folks are buying guns too. I mean, this is crazy. You don't want government health care, you're racist. They just throw these buzzwords out that have nothing to do with it. But absolutely, China is building 300-mile-an-hour trains. We haven't repaired our rail lines in over 100 years. When my grandmother was going to college, she would take the train from East Texas, getting her master's. She went to Baylor for her regular four-year degree. When she was getting her master's in education, shooting down to Houston, part of the week, she took a bullet train from Teague, Texas, that went over 100 miles an hour. So she'd get down to Houston in like an hour and get back in an hour. Now the trains can't go above about 45 miles an hour because the tracks are so bad. I mean, America is like in reverse here. Go ahead.
Yes, listen to Congressman Alan Grayson. He's from the House of Representatives. Now, I'm trying to give you things that you've got to listen to according to what my elitists are telling me. You've got to listen to what Alan Grayson said about MBS, mortgage-backed securities. I was told, and please, folks, listen, I don't want to keep tooting my horn, but these things were told to me by my elitist friends back a year, 2 years ago. They said that if they have their way, when they have their way, that the elitists of the world are going to own every piece of mortgage real estate in the United States of America, both commercial and residential. And I gave that on Alex Jones' show back a year and a half ago, when the MBS mortgage-backed security thing had not even come up as a major issue. Now, Alan Grayson came out. He's a member of the House of Representatives in Washington, and you've got to watch him on YouTube. He came out and said the identical same thing that I was told back a year and a half to 2 years ago, that they will take over by way of the Federal Reserve and ask you, as the American people, through the Treasury, to give to bail out mortgage-backed securities. And when they do, through the Federal Reserve, you'll be making your house payment to the Federal Reserve, and I was amazed. I sat here in awe as I watched Alan Grayson say this before the House of Representatives. He said exactly what Mr. Fromm said to me back a year and a half, 2 years ago. I was utterly appalled. You will be making your house payment when they have their way and all this is settled in. You'll be making your house payment to the Federal Reserve. Every piece of mortgage real estate in the United States of America will be taken over, and this is a part of their plan. And now, even some congressmen are bold enough to come out and say these things again.
Yeah, too big to fail is their program to purposefully implode everything and then come in as the saviors and collectivize it even more and then tell us that China is our owner. It's just absolute high treason, and the media is telling us we're lazy, it's our fault. I've studied it. This country, a small part of the debt is the chicken feed entitlements. The real 1.5 quadrillion.
It's one of the first things I learned when I lived with these elitists of the world for 3 years' time. Money is not their question. Some of these people were so wealthy they could have written a check for $1 million a day the rest of their life and never spent their wealth. The name of the game is control, and people say to me so often on talk shows, why would these elitists of the world destroy their own country where they live? They aren't destroying their country. They are bringing the country to its knees. They bankrupt everything from the airlines to the railroads to what Alan Grayson talked about on the floor of the House of Representatives the other day. They bring it to its knees so they can buy it for pennies on the dollar, and they let you as taxpayers finance it through the Federal Reserve, which is a total sham, no more than the Federal Reserve, no more part of the federal government than Federal Express is. And in the end, they're going to own every bit of this. This is their end goal, is to bring the entire system in America and much of Europe also to its knees so that they can own it control it, and then over a period of many years and maybe a few lifetimes, they'll turn around and bring it back to the position it is right now under their control. They aren't destroying their own country. They're buying their own country through the Treasury of the United States of America, through the Federal Reserve, and you are going to give it to them. If you sit there much longer, you and your children are going to be slaves to the elitists of the world, and these people have been warning me of this now for the past number of years. Alex?
Stay there. I want to talk, Lindsey, about how we counter this, other things that the other Mr. X, Mr. L, as I call him, has been telling you. We'll be right back with Lindsey Williams. My website's Infowars.com. Gary Reed, but you can't say the guy's the political offspring of Mao Zedong. They're just as murderous as they ever were. But you can't say that. Sit down and shut up. I'm sorry. I hope you go to gusset.com/America. And we're just basically almost out of time for this hour. Lindsey, I want to give you the floor for the next 10 minutes or so when we come back to finish up. But of those 5 communiques, got about a minute and a half before this hour ends. Again, what are some of the other basic communiques? So the food prices exploding. We already see that happening. You've been saying that for 3 years. Now it's here, as you said, 2.5 years from now it would start. The oil going up. What are the other communiques? The latest stuff he gave you.
If your audience will allow me to let them hear the voices of the elite. After Mr. Ken Fromm passed away, I felt free to do something I've never done before. And I have actually recorded the voices of the elite on the 2 CDs, 3 hours. Please, I beg of you, and the 13 things now that you positively must do. There's one I haven't even covered. I'm going to cover in the next hour in detail, Alex.
But I mean, to be specific, because we're almost out of time, and I want to give the number out, because it's important for people to get these. You've got a whole bunch of DVDs where you put all these years of information and predictions together, and then now the new information on 2 audio CDs where you take what Fromm and the other living executive have told you, and then show how later other elitists say it on C-SPAN and things. It's prophecyclub.com or 888-799-6111. We'll be right back.